everyone.
Oh,
We're
Jesus.
back for another one. So yeah, we're here today with another amazing podcast for you guys. And before we dive right in to our guest, I'm gonna give you guys a little reminder of the Crooked Experience and what we're doing, and why it's called that, and what we're here to do today. And most of
Can
you
you
know
sound
already.
less like a teacher? Okay, class.
All right, Crooks. Obviously,
It's
everyone
sassy.
knows
Jesus.
it's a play off of our brand CRX. It
Mhm.
stands for Crooks. That's how we're going to refer to you
We
guys.
got that, yeah.
Yep. And if we want to give a little shout out to our favorite prison, now would be the time.
No, we
But for
don't.
the for the most part, we just want to give you guys an insight to some Second Life creators, event owners, big personalities, and we want you guys
The
to have the
movers and
opportunity.
shakers.
The movers and shakers, and we want you
Yeah.
guys to have the opportunity to get to know them. And I don't know, just see their personality behind the Avi. We always talk about how people are not quick to get to know others, and they're being judged by what they think they know or what they read or um, superficial stuff. And this is really kind of us shining light on our guests and what their interests are and who they are.
Mhm.
And we want to get to know them, and we want to bring you guys along for the ride. So here we are. So without further ado, we have a really talented event owner here with us today. He is like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain of these
For sure.
events. Like, you wonder to yourself, like, who's behind all of this? Like, how do these things happen? And the answer is likely, I call him Mikel. You might know him as Michael Monk, but he's the man behind events like TMD and Anthem. I'm sure you all know his apparel store, BUENO. Um, I don't know. He's a popular guy. And he made time to
He
be with us
is a
today.
mover and
He is
shaker.
a mover and shaker, all right. And we really appreciate
By the way,
you
he's
coming to the
hating the
show.
intro, by the
I
way.
know.
Yeah.
He's cringing in his seat, like, oh my
Oh,
God, Vale,
No,
what are you doing?
I'm
Uh,
not. I'm not cringing. I'm just thinking that that's absolutely not true. That was the biggest lie I've heard in a while.
you know what? Val is
correct
good
it.
at.
Correct it. You are the man behind all of these things. You really are.
I'm a part of those things. Yeah, I wouldn't call it. I'm behind all those things, but yeah, I'm a part of.
Val said you're the wizard.
Yes, a
Oz.
wizard.
You are the event wizard.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that luckily I've been lucky and fortunate enough to for lack of a better word, I think I've been brazen enough to embark on things and they kind of just work out. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really been, oh, well, I know exactly what I'm doing. And it's been more about being brazen and just being tenacious,
Yeah. That's
interesting with your. That's what's interesting with like your journey in SL is like because we're really good friends and the thing that I had known is that you didn't like write a blueprint on what you're gonna do and how you're gonna like conquer SL business. It was kind of like I don't want to sound like
there was no blueprint.
I was gonna say the Homer S. Simpson effect. Like I'm just gonna try this. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna try this and see what happens. It was just like
was no blueprint, really. I mean, nobody.
Right.
People had at the time when I started TMD, there was really just maybe one or two other events. Like there was maybe C88 and 15th and Friday or something like that. It wasn't really anything, so there was no real blueprint
on how to do it.
and right. And
you're just like, I want to try this. And that's what it is.
You
Like
right.
you had no
I saw a couple of
aspirations.
things, and I knew what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, "Well, I'm gonna do it." Like I said, it was about being brazen. Like I didn't really. It wasn't about me going, "Oh, I know exactly how to do this. I'm just gonna." And by no means is it because I'm organized or hardworking or anything like that. I think I'm I'm a hardworking. I'm the most.
I was gonna
I'm
say
the,
you're definitely selling yourself short a little bit.
no,
I mean,
I'm probably the laziest person that looks like I work the hardest.
the laziest, hardest
No.
worker.
Right,
I would
right.
say
Me and
that.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was
I
gonna
was
say
gonna say
that
me
after
and
knowing you
Val.
for a little while, I would be able to tell you that you definitely you definitely put in the work. It's not something, and also, with these events and having a store, there's a lot of working parts to the production. And I know
Mhm.
that, no one is like well, very rarely is someone a one person show, and we're just kind of focusing on you being kind of like I don't know what else to call you other than the wizard behind it. But I do know that from the
I
times
wish I
that
was a wizard
I
because
because then you could just like wave your wand and it would all be done, and you know designers would set up on time and everything would
no,
be
no,
everything would be okay.
I would just not, I would disappear.
Yeah, you
I
would
would
you would go
disappear.
invisible. But
Yeah,
I do think though that from what I know about you and from the time that
Mhm.
we've experienced, you are a hard worker. You do have a vision. You are creative. You are all those things. You definitely do sell yourself short, or you're humble a bit. But I do want to ask you,
hmm
what gave you the idea to even start going into the arena of events in Second Life? Was there something that you felt was missing? Did you feel like you just woke up one day and you were like, this is what I want to do in Second Life? Where did it start?
I had left Second Life for a while, for about 6 to 8 months, and then I came back, and I really felt more like I wanted to do something. I didn't want to just, well, actually, I had a great amount, I had a lot of friends at the time, and we just loved hanging out and talking and just it was just a great time. There was a lot of people at the time that I hung out with, and we were just having fun, and it was just great. But for me, I was bored. You know what I mean? I was bored, and I liked shopping. And 15th and Friday didn't have it. Every now and then it had furniture, maybe one guy item.
Right.
And then C88 was there, but it didn't really have stuff for guys. It had furniture. And I
Shout
just
out to
kind of
those
felt
guys.
like, yeah, shout out to all the, to 15 and the Fridays, to C88, to really putting,
The innovators.
being the innovators. Um, and then I just said, there's nothing for dudes. And I knew there was guys that, that wanted to shop, because there was other guys like,
Yeah.
like me. I wanted to, I was always right now. You wouldn't be able to tell because I haven't changed my outfit in, like, I don't know, since I changed it again. But it takes now I change it like every 6 months or something. But before I would change 2 or 3 times a day. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
so I wanted to have some. I knew there was other dudes like that. So, and I go, you know what? I wanted to be, and guys' clothes was more expensive than female clothes at the time. I mean, clothes, not shoes, because the shoes for women, they would sell them expensive, real expensive here. But
Speaking of shoes, look at Tequila's shoes. They're amazing. I know I shitted on her last podcast. I got to redeem myself.
all
Okay,
right.
Mikel. Hey, Mikel,
So,
one thing that you did say, you were like that you noticed that you didn't have things for men, but so you were very animate to like, bring products and inspire for
right,
content
and
for men.
and I was gonna do. I knew right away that I was gonna do clothing and furniture. Like I wanted both. You know what I mean? Because guys, so you can have your spot and everything. You know what I mean? Not only get dressed, but have your spot and
right, have everything you need.
Right. So it was just, and it kind of just started, and it was really like, and I've always said this, like if it wasn't for females, the men's department wouldn't exist. Like a female, a woman, and I wish I could remember her name now, and I'm kind of embarrassed and I can't.
You can make up a name.
No, I'm not gonna.
No.
That she kind of was opening at that time, and I saw there was a lot of fairs and stuff. Like giant, like I don't know, like a whole stand full of random stores would have sales or something, and she would put that together. And she's kind of told me, well, you just make a list of designers and you ask them for a certain day, and from a day, she just gave me like real basic instructions.
Right, basic outline.
Right. And she was like, and you have bloggers and you have this, and because I didn't know anything. Like I didn't know any bloggers, I didn't know anybody, and I just said, all right. And I just kind of put it together, I did it.
So I have an interesting question.
Sure.
TMD then versus TMD now. What are the biggest differences? Besides the obvious different designers, but what, if you were to look back at kind of the first year or two of TMD versus now, what do you see to be the biggest difference? Or has it stayed the same? Has it been the same this whole time?
Sorry that I'm laughing.
I thought you said you had an interesting question, Val.
It is. It is to me, and I'm sure
laughing.
people want to know.
No,
I'm laughing because
I started going through. At the beginning of the first 2 years of TMD, maybe the first 2 years, I used to have parties at TMD. I don't know if y'all ever went there.
Really? Why can't we bring that back?
Like, because there's too many people that go there at the time. It wasn't like...
Wow, dude, I never knew that shit.
Okay, I used to have DJs, and literally TMD would open, and there would be a DJ playing, and you could be there. It would be like a party at the same time. I had forgotten about it. Yeah,
like opening day party.
Opening day party, and and then that's how girls started showing up to TMD.
Right.
And realizing what it was there for, and seeing, and then they would start bringing their guys.
Right, they want to dress their dudes.
They could shop. They were shopping and having. It was like a shopping party kind of. I forgot about that. But the first couple of years, because only like 15 or 20 people would come when we opened. So
right.
It's kind of weird now thinking back to it that I was like, we were, and I was so. Not that I'm not invested in it now, but I was like there on opening day. I would stay there all opening day. I was there during the parties. You know what I mean? Like I had to get a DJ. At the time I knew DJs. I knew, and
see, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was real fun. As opposed to now. Where it's a lot of work, and it's not more work. It's just there's more people, and people always tell me, especially people that have been going to TMD that long and that I've known, or even DJs that I know, they're like, hey, we should throw another, I'll do TMD. And in all fairness, I can't thank. There's so many people to thank. I can't really even begin to thank any of them.
Right.
But like all the DJs did it for free. Like all the like everybody, nobody charged. This is embarrassing, man. Nobody charged me. You know what I mean? So, like even the person that was renting me the land at the time, they went like a year without charging me rent. Like,
do you think it's because? Well, obviously, they're your friend, but like, here's a person with an innovative idea, like they want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
And no, because they weren't even like a force in it. They were just. It's like if you own the land, but it wasn't a deal for you.
It was kind of like I owned the land, and then you were like, "I'm going to do this." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really give a fuck. Do what you can do."
Well,
We're
no,
we're
it
homies,
was more
right?
like it's because back then. Again, I don't know if you remember. I mean, it's because this is 8 years ago, bro. This is like a life. 8 years is really like 30 years in SL.
Yeah,
like
in
30
SL time.
Yeah. 8 years is like
it's
30.
a lifetime.
Yeah,
Right. So
close to a decade.
Right. Back then, traffic was very important to your sim, right? So if you had a lot of traffic in your sim, somehow you would come out at the top of the destination, so people would go to your sim even more. The more traffic you got, the more. So I was basically TMD because of the party and the opening of TMD and the shop, the event itself. It created traffic for that person had a store and other things on the other side of the sim. So, but the sim in general would get all this traffic because of what I was doing.
Right. And also the DJs who kind of did that. I mean, you're getting exposure.
Yes.
Which a lot of times they're probably, I don't know if there was SL Facebook or if there was
wasn't. There wasn't SL Facebook, but there was.
It's a lot of word of mouth.
Can you imagine if he does it now?
You have to think about this.
I think he should.
It was. I was mixing. At the time, there was a lot of the DJ music scene and club scene on SL that I'm sure you remember. Like there was a lot of club scene, and so all these DJs would bring all the people that followed them over to TMD, and then the designers would invite their friends or people they knew to TMD because they were putting their stuff there. Their customers would show up, and then the bloggers would show up. So it was kind of mixing all these people. I was getting customers, designers, and DJs all hanging out in the same place. You know what I mean? Where before designers didn't really associate with their customers. You know what I mean? They kind
of be cool. That would be cool though if you like maybe just for 1 month or not for 1 month or for like one round, kind of brought that back. Like
I'd want to, but I'd have to do it like mid-month where the traffic is down to like 50 people, and then I can bring it. That's the only way I could do it now. You know what I mean?
Opening day at TMD.
Oh, right,
stays full that whole week usually.
Right, it stays. I mean, it does all right. It does okay.
You're being modest.
It does all right. I mean, it does all right. It's a good. I mean, I'm just lucky that I'm so lucky that people still show up. I'm so happy.
So I want to ask you. We know the event giant that is TMD for men. I know.
I don't know about giant, but yeah, sure.
I mean, I can't think of a bigger men's event. I really can't.
If you're the biggest men's event, yes,
and that are inching a little bit maybe, but everyone knows TMD. Like if you're looking for menswear or accessories or cool furniture, I've seen bikes, I've seen swords, I'd see guns.
Right.
I mean, you name it.
She would bring her men's that's like 2 days old, and she would take them straight to TMD.
Like, go fix yourself.
No, yeah. That's what it's good for. It's good to go take your man, ladies, go take your man, sort them out.
It's so cute when I see that.
Avatar, take them, make your malt, and go sort them out there.
Yeah.
You have skin. Yeah, you have, and that's what I wanted. You wanted skin. If you wanted to get hair,
the best of the best,
and clothes, you could get the whole works all at once.
Or dudes take your dudes. Like
it's
both ways. Yeah, do whatever you want.
Huh? Dudes take your dudes.
Yeah, everybody take everybody. I don't care.
What is this? You speak of?
I really did. I wanted it to be unisex, really. Like, and for a long time, a lot of the designers would
male on male.
Well, what I realized now that I think about it too at the beginning is that since there wasn't a lot of events, a lot of the designers would release the male and female version of their item. Like if they had like a top they would make the female version and the male version and release it together. Velena, I know you know who Velena is, and a brand called Pumpkin that they used to
I'm
be
wearing Velena jeans today. I know for some of you who are just listening.
Stop.
It's true. These are
Well,
some. They're
they're
old,
one of
but they're one of my
one of the
favorites.
great brands. But they started as
Great
a
brand.
unisex brand. They started as making the male and female version of items all the time. So they were in TMD. You know what I mean? So yeah, TMD was a very much unisex event for a long time as well.
So I like that.
I would like to see female oriented brands to just be like, go to TMD and just, dabble in. There was Mug, right? Because Mug does mostly female stuff, right?
But I think that it used to do. They used to do a pair of jeans, and then they do the female. But that was before all the bodies came along. That's why. That's what I think slowed down a lot of the unisex kind of stuff, because the bodies, you have to rig for, whatever.
Yeah, can you imagine if you're a unisex clothing designer? You got the men and the female bodies. That's like what, a total of 8 bodies? I don't know. What, 4 each?
Something
off the top of my head, I don't know.
That's a lot, but that would be really cool. That would be really cool, though, to see brands that are predominantly making stuff for females come out with a men's line, or any designers that are listening, like that would be a really cool thing to be a part of, and just be like, you know what, this round we're gonna do this for men's, and I guess maybe it has to do with the body and the rigging, but I'm sure it could be done. But that does bring me to my next question. When we were talking about unisex items at an event, and you have Anthem now as well. So what brought that on? And people refer to it as kind of like TMD, but for the girls, like for the ladies.
That's weird.
But what is, what brought that about? What made you want to get into that?
It wasn't me, actually. I was ready to leave. As I think Nesta knows this, but I was ready to leave SL already. Because I was kind of bored, and I just.
By the way, for all the guys out there, I told them you can't leave.
I was just gonna leave. I was very convinced that I could just leave and nobody would know.
Yeah. Hear that shit. He thought he could leave. He told me, he's like, I'll just leave and nobody will notice. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
I thought, there's brands that that all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, that brand hasn't released anything in a couple of months. And they go, oh, what happened to them? I don't know. They'll come back or something, and then they never come back. And that's kind of how I felt. I go, well, you know what? I'll just kind of ease away, and then I'll just, take a bow out. You know what I mean?
It would be a sad day if that happens.
Nah, man.
Nesta would cry. He's not a crier. He'd cry if you left.
But
I would cry
because I was just. It was kind of weird.
It was such a staple.
It was a weird time for me in SL, and I was kind of just. I was just kind of going through the motions, and I just feel like, you know what am I even doing here anymore? Like, I had my store and I was making money and I was going through the motions, but I wasn't really, I don't know if the word is happy, or it just felt stagnant. I don't know. I just felt.
Has it become a routine, right?
Right. And I really didn't.
A stale routine?
I kind of lost. This is going to sound fucking lame, but all the people that I was hanging out with.
No.
That I hung out with, whatever. I didn't really hang out with anybody anymore. Like, I hung out with, I had a couple of friends, and I was like, this place isn't for me anymore. A lot of things had gone on, and I just kind of wanted to bail. And then Tinker Hacks hit me up and said, hey, would you be interested in creating this event, but with female and male clothing, kind of like and then making a new event, and I was like, and I thought, I was like, man, another event. There's so many fucking events,
Right.
and then I thought,
Right.
but she talked to me about it, about the idea, and I said, you know what? Because people had asked me to do a female event for a long time.
Oh, I bet. Can you imagine?
They would ask me for a long time. They'd ask me, especially the people that were unisex, that some of them stayed doing male and some of them went to the female.
Okay.
So I had worked with a lot of people like Valena that had done female. She stuck with female. And so I knew a lot of these people, and they had said, hey, well, you should make one, and customers and other designers I knew had said, well, you should make a female. And I always said, like, no, there's C88, and at the time there was I think or Custom 9 had already started, and I was good friends with Custom 9, with the people from C88. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not gonna be going, stepping on anybody's toes. We all had a good relationship. Everybody kind of, got along, and we all, everybody got along. So there was no real. I was like, no, there's other events for women. I don't need to be doing that. But now, when Tink asked me, I kind of felt like, well, that'd be a cool thing to do, like to try. You know what I mean?
Test the market.
Well, not test the market, but a challenge.
Right, to give your SL some spice because you wanted to quit.
Right. Like, let's see if I can do this. See if I can,
Right, gotcha.
If I can make this happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
he did.
I guess, yeah.
You definitely did. I think Anthem is one of those events that people love.
Well, it just kind of took, and Tink does, the bulk of the work. She's the one that really, like, we work together, whatever, but she does a lot of the work, and she's the organized. The thing is that I work in chaos, like with TMD.
Same here.
I
got bail.
I didn't have I didn't have a list. I didn't even have spreadsheets till like 4 years into TMD. Like, I would just write them down. Like, I would type them down on a note card, like the names. Like, that was it. Like, I didn't really even. I had no system. You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't. To me, chaos works a lot easier, right? And so, and that was one of the reasons I never had a partner, because I'm not good at compromise. I'm not good at, acclimating myself to that. Like,
it's good to have someone to keep you on. It's good to have someone that always kind of keeps you on the path of like, okay, well, we have to get from point A to point B. I know it's going to be very jumbled up and kind of crazy on our way to get there, but like, here's the direction that we're going, and then you kind of work together.
Right. When Vale said that, our CRX meeting with her voice just made me like shiver, because she.
What?
Like, if you're okay, here's the tip: if you're a male designer out there and you want to get organized, get a lot of females on your team, because.
Yeah. I mean, Tink, is definitely super organized. She's a really hard worker. She just goes above and beyond. She's relentless. Like, I tell her all the time, like, they don't, she's a machine. Like, they don't really do this stuff. And for me, again, I'm the laziest worker.
No, you're putting yourself down again.
Stop it.
I'm not putting myself down. Hey, but how's this? I'll take a nap right now. I'll take a nap right now. And I'll be back.
That's fine. You can. We'll wait for you to wake up.
Right. So
we got time.
But
it's not like we're filming.
I'm actually really proud that Anthem is working. You know what I mean?
You got to remember too, and a lot of people, like, this is something that I think a lot of people don't see, is that Anthem is made up of a lot of different designers and creators. And the relationships that you make with those designers and creators, and how you interact with them, and how you talk to them, and how you just, you're all working together. Like you all want to succeed. So your demeanor, the way you talk to people, the way you communicate with people, and the connections and bonds that you make with these other designers and creators, is so paramount to making a spreadsheet. Those things are good, yeah, but part of what makes, I think, for just knowing you, what makes a lot of these events successful that have your backing behind it is that you have great relationships with the creators of Second Life and the other creative minds in Second Life, and I think that's so important. And you definitely spearhead that.
Vale didn't breathe when she said that, by the way. It was just straight through.
It's funny.
We're all
So
drinking.
intense.
We're all drinking here in the
your
studio,
energy,
by the
Val.
way.
Your energy is too
I'm
intense.
not drinking. I'm on CBD oil because I'm
We're all doing something.
But I'm on CBD oil because I don't consider that a drug.
How does that
Relax.
We are relaxed. We just said we're drinking, and MIKEL's got his CBD droplets in hand.
Yes.
I don't like Val's energy right now. It's very intense.
Well, there's a lot of questions, like kind of.
There's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions pouring in because people want to know a little bit.
I feel like he robbed a bank.
A little.
I wish.
Where were you?
Well, people want to know what.
Can I say this, Val? Can I say this?
Sure.
Can I? Okay.
No,
Mikel, one thing I like doing about TMD, it's like it's one of the most chillest event. Like the deadline, this and that, and like there's no like hardcore like, because I think everybody that's been in TMD, they're just very professional. They know the system, and that's why I like doing TMD. There's no like it's not intense. You know what I mean? When you join other events, Val, you could probably back me up on this, but if you join other events, it's intense. Like where you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But what I like about TMD, they actually are like, okay, we are having the best designers in this event, and we're treating them like professionals, which means they know the deadlines, they know this and that, and if they want to make money, you know what I mean?
Well, and there's also a respect. Like, I think because we're on the designer side, yeah. I think just being a creator and then working with Mikel, it feels like, all right, he's got this under control. He's got our back if we need something or need help with something, whatever it is. It's like he definitely is there, working alongside of creators in a really positive way, and in a way that doesn't feel like, okay, we have to put on, we're at the principal's office, like, yeah. we better, I don't know. It's just relaxed and successful.
You know what it is? It's because the inmate runs the asylum. That's
right. You know what, Mikel?
The asylum. So
right.
But one of the things I can honestly tell you that, that's actually one of the things that I'm proud of, is that I created relationships with a lot of these designers, with most of the designers, because I treat them as people, and like, I don't get mad if they can't show up. I don't get mad if they're late. Like, and for TMD, I don't really, I mean, and people, a lot of people say that I'm too lax or too laid back or too, that I don't, and some people, you look bad because, maybe some of the spots are open, and for me, it's like, there's people that are working here, and if they don't want to get their money, you know what I mean, or something happens, an emergency in real life, they're still human beings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You don't take a grudge.
Yeah,
you don't take a grudge and be like, "Well,
yeah, I don't get angry at people."
Yeah.
Right.
It's very hard for me to get upset with people, like,
because you understand that life happens.
100%. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't really think like, because they'll, And then I think that they just kind of are shocked that I don't get mad about it. You know what I mean? That I'm just kind of like, hey,
But
man,
they really love
and they
doing business
appreciate it. They
because of that.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
right? That I'm not trying to like, oh, you're never coming back because you didn't make it, or you're late, or
No,
I
that
don't.
definitely is one of the first things I remember when we were talking about it. And this was probably
Mhm.
like months and months ago. I think
Mhm.
we were talking about, I can't remember if it was TMD or Anthem. I don't remember which event it was. But I remember that, like, for some reason, like, there had been a couple creators that, like, either couldn't make the deadline or had to, like, reluctantly be like, okay, well, I can't do this one this round or
Right, yeah, to
whatever.
drop out, right,
Yeah, they had to drop out. And I remember you saying, like, I never get upset about these things. I never stress about these things, because at the end of the day, people are people, and people have lives. And that, I think that's one of the more important things, especially even creating this podcast, that we always wanted people to know. It's like, these are real people. Like, this
right,
isn't so and so label, so and so store, so and so brand. It's like, no, people have lives and stuff happens. And you have always been considerate of that. And you have definitely been someone who people, want to work with, because you don't, you, you run a structured ship for the most part, and
right.
stuff gets done. You have two great events, but you also remember that we're all human beings. And I think that's one of the biggest things that, makes you really great. But I do want to squeeze in this one question,
Sure.
because it's been getting asked. No, it's that
Mm.
I want to know that the point is that there's so many events. How
That
do
how did
you how do
how
you
did
get on to the top tier? What advice would you
well
have?
that this was what and that's why I'm proud of Anthem that within a year we were able to bring it up to a really good status. You know what I mean? To a point where it had the caliber of a major event. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the traffic is great. You know what I mean? The designers are great. Um, and that's hard. That's difficult, like you said, given the amount of events that exist on it.
Right.
Right. So, um, for me, in my experience, I can't speak for Tink on this,
Mhm.
on the event, because Tink has worked in other events and stuff. But me owning TMD and then being part of Anthem is, I don't like I said, me being bracing and just not being just that bold and not being afraid to take an L, not afraid to taking a loss, but also at the same time not willing to compromise. Like that's one of the problems I have. I guess I have, and I
Mhm.
guess was an attribute is that I'm not willing to compromise what I want. You know what I mean? Like, and when I started TMD, I started with 10 designers, but I started with 10 designers I liked.
Right.
I didn't just take 10 designers because they were the ones that were there. I didn't take 10 designers because they were my friends. I took them because I put them in TMD or got them to TMD because they were designers that I would want to buy from, right?
Mhm.
So if there would be anybody any advice I could give to any event organizer would be get, even if it's 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, designers that you have, and start with that. But start with people that you really like, not just because they're your friends, not because
Right.
you want to fill up the space. I
Have some
didn't.
integrity.
Well, it's not about integrity, man. It's about if you have a vision,
Mhm.
and like I said, for 2 years, I mean, for 2 years of TMD, I didn't make money. Like I broke even. All the work was I basically was working for the designers. I didn't make no money. Like there was no
Mhm.
money that, but I was proud of what my product was, right? And
Right.
then
Right. Right.
eventually the money started coming, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so, and it was because when you get 10 designers, let's say, and that you want, you're not gonna make enough money to cover for the sim. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be. I had the fortune again. I was fortunate enough to have somebody that give me part of the sim to use it. You know what I mean? I didn't need the whole sim, or I just needed my little area, and we could fill up the sim if we had to, and we didn't unless we had. And then I started bringing parties over and started. And what's weird is that everybody told me like it's so weird that you're having a party during the sales event. Like, why would you do that? Like, it's because there was no rules for me, right? Like again, there was no blueprint, there was no rules, so I really didn't feel like, oh,
you were like a why not attitude.
Yeah, why not? This was I can or can't do. There was none of that for me. It was
so it's mostly just like staying true to what
there
you
was
like.
There was no precedent for it, so I just said, you know what? I'm gonna do what I feel, what I enjoy. I'm going to have the people that I want here, and I'm going to do what I enjoy doing.
And that's pretty much remained true, I think, throughout your time. So what would you say to any designers that are either newer or starting out, or maybe some designers that have been around for a long time that want to get into TMD or want to get into Anthem? How would they go about that?
Well, like I've never taken applications for either event. We never had applications really.
You just gone invite.
Right. I just invite or now if somebody recommends a brand if somebody I respect or a designer I respect recommends a brand, I'll give people chance like, hey, yeah, sure, come on in, if I see that they're trying, I've seen a lot of brands that they start off and they're kind of barely beginning, but I can see that they're hungry, they're working, they're really focused. They're trying to improve what they do, and then I'll give them a shot and let them, let them get some exposure, let them see what they do. Because as soon as this is how I see it, and this is how I know when somebody's gonna just move up, is once you're next to other brands that are of a high caliber,
sharks,
you want to be in that caliber. You're like, well, shit, I need to step up my shit. Like I can't be sitting around here. You know what I mean? Like, right? So they start improving because they want to be at that level. I remember when I started my brand, my only goal was to be not to be the shittiest brand at the event. Like I just wanted to be the one that wasn't the worst. Like I wanted to make sure I wasn't the worst. That was a promise I kind of had made myself when I started my brand. So yeah, and it does, and I see it. People when they're upping their game, and when people are upping their game, the people that are already on top will start. They don't panic, but they go, "All right, like here's another person that's giving me competition." They step up their game. They stay away from being lazy. You know what I mean? Like, so they start. So it's an ongoing cycle, kind of a perpetual cycle of people improving themselves.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about BUENO because that's kind of our, the trifecta. That's kind of like the last piece.
Right. This I bet I'm being super fucking boring.
No,
super boring podcast.
No, you're actually doing really great.
Questions. I've been waiting for Nesto's questions, but
Nesto wings it. He kind of,
Nesto wings it. He shows up drunk to the meetings.
He's got some drinks in him. I kind of just run through the outline just because I want to make sure we get to it.
This goes back to my advice. Like, if you want structure, hire women.
All right, well there you go. You heard
getting him to do a countdown before we started was
God
was stress. Let me tell you.
By the way, we had to wait for Vale to just relieve herself, and that takes
relieve
30 minutes.
True.
That could mean so many things, and we're gonna leave it at that. We're not even gonna say what that is.
You guys are disgust. All right, listen. I want to know why why you got BUENO and Anthem, but when is BUENO going to come out with men's clothes and show up in TMD?
Actually, at the beginning of BUENO, I started with men's clothes.
Really?
And,
Okay.
yeah, but again, that was before the mesh bodies. And then I quickly realized that female clothing sold a lot more. So I just started gearing more towards the female market, and then I started making gotchas, and I started making accessories, and it's just kind of all over the place. I think Bueno now really is more who I am. Like, it's really all over the place. It doesn't really have any particular style or particular, if you go through it, you go through my gotchas, you go through the bills, because I have buildings and I have furniture and I have accessories.
What's been your most favorite collab? Because I've noticed in some of your stuff you've done collabs with designers over time. Which one has been your favorite, and what did you guys put out?
I used to have a friend of mine. She used to have a store here called Abyss Design.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and
She still does stuff.
She has it right. She's been out of SL because she just real life, whatever life happens.
One of the first stores that has beautiful like structures and textures.
Yeah, homes, right. So when we started working together, we started doing collabs together, right? And in the sense that there's like a set of buildings that we did together, but there's also like a lot of the items like Vespas, like Segways that we did, and we did all this cool stuff because she kind of found a relief, because she was so used to making buildings and making all this like really high detail stuff to making fun things. And I found it better too, because we weren't making clothes anymore. We were just making things to have fun. You know what I mean? Like backpacks with cats, weed cupcakes, you know what I mean? Like safes, like, bikes, scooters, I mean, cars, Jeeps, you know what I mean? Like those lowrider bikes, butterfly, like there was no real, like, kind of, again, no parameters. We were just having fun and making fun objects, and that's probably like the most fun I've had, and I miss that, definitely. Recently, I released something that I was happy with, which was this gun that's just kind of fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah. What I like about that gun, it didn't have no complex HUD. You know what I mean?
Right. It was, well, I thought it was fun because it
looks complex. Yeah.
Right. It was one of the
It
last.
does.
It would look like it was gonna be one of the last gotchas I had made, and then I couldn't make the gotcha, couldn't finish it, so I just had a bunch of stuff there. And I always liked the gun, but I didn't want it to be like, oh, you shoot somebody and then they fall down, or because people wanted it, and I was like, I don't want to do that shit, man. I wanted to be fun, like like I have like. You've seen the taco typers where you're eating the taco if you type, or you're fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that I have all kinds of fun. Like, to me, they're just fun. You know what I mean? It's just enjoyable stuff that you can wear or do. And I hadn't done that in a long time. And a friend of mine, from Bad Unicorn, he's always making fun stuff, and it kind of makes me jealous. And I was like, man,
he's a renaissance.
He's he's one of my closest friends on the game, definitely.
And he's such a humble creator. He's one of the he's one of the, when we were new and we didn't know where we're at in the whole spectrum of the elites, or you know what I mean, the elite designers. He was one of the ones that was like, very complimentary,
encouraging.
Well, I've said it.
Amazing
I've
guy.
said it a lot of times, and I'll always say it
publicly and not publicly. He's very
I'll
important.
say like the best designers that I've met through all the years that I've been doing this.
Stray Dog, him and Stray Dog, Gak. Shout out to them.
Are really humble. They're really nice. They're really friendly.
Yeah.
The ones that are really good at what they do and are confident in their skill set. They're humble, they're helpful, they're friendly because they're not competing with anybody really. You know what I mean? They're just they're competing with themselves and they're doing the best they can do and they want to do better on their own, but they're not trying to, I'm trying to outdo this guy or beat this guy. There's no anger there. They're just chilling. You know what I mean? Creating. And that's when, those are the best designers, I think. And the ones that are most successful. So yeah, he makes a bunch of fun stuff, and him and then my friend Serb had made a knife. And I was like, God damn it! I haven't made any fucking fun shit in a long time. Like this pisses me off. I used to have a good time. So like, you know what? I just found the gun, and I always liked it. I was really happy and proud of that. I was like, man, how am I gonna use this? And then I just turned around and. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna put some kind of fun animations on it, make it kind of fun, a little different. And they were like, and scripters wanted me to like make it make noises, I was like, I'm not gonna do that shit. I'm not gonna turn it.
I think it's great. I think it's great how it is.
Yeah, right. I just wanted it simple and to the point, and just have something cool that other guns don't have on SL. And so, So it was. So after that, yeah, I just recently released it, and had a great response.
You released it at a weekend thing, right?
No, at the warehouse sale.
Warehouse sale.
Yeah, it's Dubu, or I call her Caddy Chan, and Serbius. They have an event, the warehouse sale. Shout out to the warehouse sale, and they actually been
it's
really
a great event. It really is.
Yeah, and Dubu, or Caddy Chan, she's the blogger manager for TMD. So it's kind of all. I like working with people that I already know how to. We already kind of have a good dynamic. You know what I mean? And they're, like I said, they're friends. Mm-hmm. I have now I only have a handful of friends that are close to me or whatever. Like as opposed to before, you had abundance.
We had an entourage and.
Not an entourage. It was just so many
and a huge
so many people,
plethora.
So many people around.
Yeah.
And I lost some friendships that I wish I hadn't lost, but at the same time, I have some that I know are real solid now.
I think everyone can experience that on SL in general.
100%.
Everybody knows what it's like to have someone that you hung around with a lot, and then now you're like. No, we're not. It's not that way anymore.
It's so weird in SL.
Everyone
like
can
you
relate
can have
to that.
Right. You can have a group of people, and then all of a sudden, if you're on here 8+ years, your group is probably changed like 3 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's very rare to find someone where when you start SL, that same group, everyone kind of finds their group. To however many years later, 5, 6, maybe even if it's 1 year later. You're not really hanging around that same group. And if you do, it's super rare. But I do also want to know from you, how do you stay inspired with coming out with these things like that gun that you just put out, and what's coming up next for TMD, Anthem, and BUENO? What's next?
Well, what's I realized that wow, I'm so high right now. I realized
we're gonna touch on that after.
No, it's because I'm thinking. You asked me like I heard like 20 words, but I think you only said 5.
I just want to know what's next. That's it. I just want to know what's next and how you stay inspired. How do you keep coming up with these ideas?
You know what's hard? I'll tell you right now. For a guy. Especially a guy with my personality, and anybody that knows me knows my personality, which I'm not proud of. But it's to come up with female clothing 2 or 3 times a month, every month, is brutal. Like, I don't know what girls is cute, what's cute for girls. You know what I mean? I'm just taking shots in the dark. You know what I mean?
Right.
But what I did notice was that there was this abundance in the last maybe year and a half, maybe something like that, an abundance of female clothing stores that came out. Like, it was just maybe last 2 years, just piling on. I mean, quality stuff, not junk, quality designers, you know. So the competition became stiffer. You know what I mean? Like, and then I just realized, well, the only way to make things different is to be different, right? So I started doing accessories, which I never did. I started doing jewelry. I started doing furniture again. Like, I started doing releases. So I'm kind of mixing it up. Right now, what's next for that? The next couple of things that I have to release for BUENO itself is this choker that I'm working on that I really like, that I enjoy. It's this leather strap around your throat, which I think is really cool. But it's very thick. It's almost like a neck extender, which is different, I think, than what's around.
Tequila's into that. For
well,
those
yeah.
listening,
Yeah,
I think tequila, if you can maybe
yeah.
Tequila likes to be
I
choked.
think that's hot.
Mel likes to be choked while eating.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, everybody likes being
chokes
choked
on
a
her
little
food.
bit. Everybody
How
likes
much
being
she
choked
likes
a little bit.
There's a difference.
So-
Tequila likes to be choked. Mel likes to choke on her food.
Wow. All right. Well, like
Mel,
everybody
aka
likes-
Chubby Chantix. By the way.
everybody likes to be choked in one way or another. And so,
Yeah.
I feel like this is gonna go very well for you.
Gross.
and then
Fucking
so,
gross.
and then I have this furniture set, and I think I've shown it to you. This couch and furniture set that I'm finally gonna release, that I've had. I have this little, like, kind of fluffy sweater. I'm gonna try to do some like fuzzy stuff, which I've never tried before. Which, by the way, you know, Sinful is the only one that's ever done fluff, right? Like any fluffy stuff. And Sin is a good friend of mine. Hopefully, she'll help me if she's kind enough.
Shout out to
And-
Sinful.
Sinful, right? Shout out to Sinful.
Our new sponsor, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. She's like, what?
I wish I could shout out to all my friend stores, man. It just for
You could.
No, there's too. I mean, there's too many. You know what I mean? Like, I'll
Listen
forget
to
somebody.
this.
No. I'll feel bad because I'll forget somebody. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
That's why you never shout out to like that. You know what I mean?
like, shout out to my mom, and then you show up and
Yeah.
you're looking at
Your
you
cousin,
like,
the one that gave you $20 2 weeks
right?
ago.
The guy that gave you a ride there goes, motherfucker. I heard the shout out to your mom. She didn't want to make you a sandwich. I fucking brought you here. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
no, but so, and the same thing that I was doing with the gun. I have a knife, like
The butterfly knife?
no, the butterfly knife I've already done, and then they did it again better. They souped it up. But what I do have,
Thanks for bringing that up, Al.
Sorry. Sensitive
no, that's
topic.
cool. I'm glad. Look, anything that I made already, if somebody's gonna come make it better, please do it. And I'm all excited about people doing it again and better, because that means that it's improving and it's making Second Life better. I already made my money. I'm good with it. I already made my money on my knife.
You already had that innovator cash.
Right.
Like,
I already
you already
made my
did it
item.
first.
I don't get. That's one thing that I don't think about. Oh, somebody copied what I did like last year.
Mhm.
I don't give a shit. Like you think Nike is worried about somebody copying? And I'm not saying I'm Nike. I'm just saying, you think one brand is is worried about, oh, they made a shoe kind of like mine. Who gives a shit? Like,
yeah,
you already made your money.
If you already made your money,
right? You know what I mean? Like, it's different if
Val's waiting for our money.
If they're making it, if they're making it at the same time.
It's not true.
So somebody does something that we did, we're pretty pissed because we're still waiting for our check.
Right, you're waiting for the digital check.
Yeah,
so no,
there has been some close calls though with CRX. We've been like,
Well, y'all are doing great. Y'all are picking up speed real fast.
Yeah, man.
Y'all are moving around. You're moving around. That's good.
Well, it's because you gave us a shot. You gave us a shot.
No, man. Y'all did it on your own.
Mikel gave us a shot in the dark. I showed him what I was working on, and me and Vale showed him what we were working on, and he was like, "Wow, that's cool! Like you're a young brand, and that's what you do with other like young brands. Like what people don't know about Mikel is like he takes young brands on to TMD, gives them a stage, and they either sink or swim. Like if you don't hang with the sharks, you're not gonna." You know what I mean? It's sink or swim, But
well, it's frustrating too because I'll go to events sometimes, and like when I see a lot of empty booths there, I always look at those as like opportunities for people who they're not the biggest name, they're not the most well known, but they definitely are hungry for it. So when I see events that are big events and they have these open booths, I'm like, oh man. Get someone in there, take a chance on a brand because that's definitely something that you did with CRX, and we'll forever be grateful for that because you didn't have to do that, and you did.
I try. One of the things I try on TMD is at least every month or every other month, I want a new brand in there. And it might not be the best brand, and some people might, and I've heard it like, hey, why the hell did you give Except blah, blah, blah a chance? Who the fuck are these guys? Or I don't like them, or whatever. And I'm like, hey, you were that guy once.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing if they
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you know what? You don't know if somebody else is gonna like them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know if somebody else is gonna want to do, like that style. Like this round, I believe there's 3 new brands at TMD. You know what I mean? Like, right. Like,
I love seeing that.
Right. And that's the one thing that keeps me excited about TMD. That if there's anything that keeps me really excited is that there's new people and I'm finding cool stuff. And with Anthem, it's just about, it's like, I don't know how to say it. Like there's this, it feels like I'm doing it over again, like it's new again, and there's some of the things that are frustrating or whatever, but
it's exciting. The journey.
It's exciting. There's an excitement there. There's a tension. There's a frustration, but there's an excitement, and there's just a lot of like more and more designers I'm getting to know. Because see, I didn't know really that many female designers. You know what I mean? Like, and also, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, I'm kind of a Neanderthal. So
no way.
Well,
relax. Get him out of here.
Hold on. Well, talking to like
get him out of here.
Talking to the TMD designers, like I'd be like, hey, come set up the shit on the 3rd. Bye. Like that was
you know what's funny? On like social media, like Bad posted this too. I think I saw Bad from Bad Unicorn. I think I saw like one of his postings, and it was so relatable. He had a posting like when Mikel shows up to see what you're doing for TMD to make sure you're you know what I mean? Like he's checking up on you, but he really doesn't. You know what I mean? But he genuinely want to see what you're doing. But you know, I thought that post was really funny. And then he comes to our plat after I was reading that shit. You know what I mean, Vale?
Well, you know what?
He was like, So what do you guys do it for TMD?
You know what's funny is that, and that's another thing, right? It goes back to what Vale asked me earlier. I miss that.
Funny.
No, I miss that because when TMD was new, also the difference between TMD now, and that's why I say I'm less involved as I was, but I'm not, is that the designers were only like 30 designers, right? And a lot of them were new, or they were dudes that, and since I was personable, right, I would talk to them just as people, like, hey, how are you doing, Nesto? How you doing, Vale? They'd be like, hey, you want to come see what I'm doing? What do you think about it? So I'd be jumping from platform to platform and seeing all these designers work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I miss that. I miss, I still have friends that I go to and I see their platform and I see what they're working on.
But you miss seeing like new design,
right?
Not just your friends.
That all the time. And there's a lot of brands that, that are my friends. And like I said, that was hard for me to transition to Anthem because I didn't know the designers the way I knew them at TMD. At TMD, I could go, Vale, like I could message you, Vale, what the hell are you doing out here at the club? Go fucking finish your shit.
Can I tell you, Nesto did that to
hilarious.
me. Nesto did that to me with the
all the time.
the Anthem setup. I was at that whatever that concert was that just happened, the Chris Brown or Travis Scott concert.
Yeah.
I'm at this concert.
Shout out to Travis Scott.
Right, shout out to him. And which was an awesome concert, by the way. I had a great time. But Nesto was the whole time. They were both like, Vale, what are you doing? Like, Anthem's setup is now. I'm like, don't worry, we got this.
Yeah, she's literally drunk.
Worry,
Like, hey,
on the
she
floor.
Gallazos me her avatar dancing and like twerking. I'm like, we literally got schedules. So,
right. We have
Mikel,
Anthem.
Mikel, this is a segment of the show where we like to close it out by saying what, do you have any appreciations or like shout outs or what's your last words on
prayers?
On
prayers.
Yeah, we can do a prayer at the ending, but
not prayer. Fuck that.
But like, what do you want to tell the listeners out there that?
One, I want to definitely thank all my good friends that are my friends, my real friends, and they know who they are. The homies, they know who they are because I don't want to start saying names because it'll be forever. But they really know.
Shout out people.
I talk to them at least every day or every other couple of days. You know what I mean? Like they're close to me. They're the support system. I want to shout out to Tink, for helping me keep Anthem, for us putting Anthem and her keeping Anthem straight, and for us getting it to where it is. And I just I'm grateful for the customers for Bueno, for the customers that go to Anthem, for the customers that come to TMD, and for all the designers and all their hard work. Like
awesome.
I'm just thankful. Right. I'm very grateful. I'm lucky and I'm appreciate, and I'm grateful.
That was Vale's crack lighter, by the way. She's ready to smoke
that.
We're gonna have to wrap this up.
It's a wrap.
We're
gonna have to wrap this up because Val wants to smoke some illegal drugs.
That's right.
All right, you guys. Thank you very much for and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Opens the bank. Yeah, the bra strap. Prank. Let the girls out.
Bye.